What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Ham Radio Crash Course. Welcome to Saturday. Today is Patron's Pick. That's right, Patreon has voted, and we're talking about gear that could save your radio activation. So we'll dive into what the heck that even means, but spoiler alert, the link is in the video description to my Amazon store, where a lot of it is there, along with some of the other ones as well, that we'll be talking about gear that could save your radio activation. Enjoy the memes, and we'll get started real soon. What is happening, everybody? Hello, I am Josh KI6NAZ. Thanks for coming on out to the Ham Radio Crash Course. I was just thinking the other day, we've been doing this since 2018. I've gotten grayer and more wrinkly as we've been doing this every weekend, just about every weekend since then. Don't know how my family still accepts me. It's completely crazy. But cheers to everybody. We're going to have fun today. Today, just get to talk about things I've learned throughout the years, gear I really like, and man, just have a good time. Hoping to have fun with everybody today. So I'll be keeping an eye on the chat to make sure, as some of the cool items come up that everybody wants to talk about, I'm down for all that. Oh, what's on my neck? Oh, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about something that might be able to save your activation, because I'm breaking it down into 3 subgroups, which we'll get into in a little bit. But it's a fan, basically. It's a fan. It's a brain control system is what it is. It's a brain control system. But yeah. Good reminder, everybody, we'll be taking your questions live. Obviously, this show, if it's about gear, sure, but you may have other questions. And if you have other questions, you should join us on the Discord, because when I finish up this live stream, I'm going to make a second one. It's called the After Chat. It's just for your questions, you that are watching us. So appreciate you coming on out. All right, where is my stufa here? Here we go. That's my stuff. So go check out hamtactical.com if you want some Ham Radio Crash Course merch, usually jokes related to the shows, our podcast, which we'll be recording the podcast tonight. Leia was like, I'm too tired. And we went, all right, well, I guess we'll do the podcast tomorrow. So if you're waiting for that this morning, I apologize. We couldn't get out there. And then, if you want to check out my ham radio gear, you certainly won't regret buying. This includes a ton of stuff that we're going to talk about today, based on stuff that might be able to save your activation. So what am I even talking about? So gear that can save your activation. Activation problems seem to follow 3 major categories. One is antenna issues, power issues, and human issues. There's all kinds of problems related to human problems related to radio, but antenna issues and power issues seem to be my biggest thing, what I've experienced most in the field. And so I don't know if you're like me, but we've all had something break. And maybe it's a part that, a connector. Spoiler alert, connectors are going to come up a lot. A connector that we've used it so many times, and we're like, you know what, it's fine. I will have to replace this, but not today. And then you neglect it, and then you've passed the point of no return, and when you're in the field connecting to something and it breaks, and you're out there without a crimper, without much other stuff that you can use to get back on the air. So what do you do? Well, we'll talk a little bit about that. Those are some things to help get you back on the air, and it is one of the things that's more common than not. Same thing goes with power pole connectors. Any power connector in general will have inevitably some kind of strain issues, and then all of a sudden you're broken, right? You're broken with what you can do. So let's dive into the first category, antenna and feed line problems. So let's go on over here. The kids are messing around with me right now. Already they're messing with me. I barely even got the show started, and we're already having them screw around with the live stream. So a lot of this stuff you've seen before. So I'm not going to go and belabor a ton of this stuff because I actually want to show off something that I've been using for a long time. We will come back to this stuff, but antenna feedline problems. So maybe, are you dead? Did you die? Did you die? Oh, I think it died. I had this running. I fully charged it. Anyway, Nano VNA is a great tool for feedline and antenna problems. I was going to demonstrate it. Why don't I go ahead and put that on the charger while we talk about some other stuff? So hold on. He died. All right. So antenna feedline problems. Let's pull out the bag here so we can talk through it. And hold on one second. I'm going to lose it on my kids really fast. They're literally playing loud music in the background. I'm like, geez, you're loud enough. I might get a content strike. Jesus. All right, so yeah, gear to save your life from your dad. I've been taking a tool roll out in my kind of get on the air bag that I take to field day and campouts and all that stuff. So a lot of what we're going to show you right now is not necessarily stuff that you will take this whole bag. That's not the idea here. It's more ideas of little things you might be able to add to kits you already have, which could be helpful. So let's take a look at this. So I have these labeled, and I have a little pouch here for feedline fix. So a couple of things. I have a baggie of connectors. You are definitely going to want to have connectors in any kit you have. And what connectors are the most common? Oddly enough, barrels are common, but not this barrel. It's the other barrel, the threaded barrel. And BNC, SO239 to BNC male are the most common connectors that you're going to want to have in your bag. I do have one of these guys as well. Where is the other one? I have an extra one of those as well. So these are some of the more uncommon ones. There's the one. So this guy is what you use for a Rig Expert Stick Pro. Like you'll end up using these for like a stick. That is the most common one because this goes on the Rig Expert and then the antenna attaches to that. And I often use BNC, particularly when I'm portable. So that's what we go for there. So anyway, I keep those in a little Meritac pouch. But as far as problems that you get with antenna connectors, so I will sometimes have a crimper, and this is an example of a crimper, one that you might use all the way down to RG8. RG8 is probably the smaller guy right here. You would need a different crimper if you wanted to do something like LMR 400, but having like loose connections is always a good idea. In fact, I've got some that I keep. Mine are all for LMR 400 generally, though, because that's the coax type that I have the most of, so I usually have some extra connectors on hand. I do have crimpers for that, too, but at field day, you don't get a whole lot of LMR 400, so this is the one I keep in there most often. Now, you have seen this before, but it's gone through some revisions, and this is my most often grabbed little antenna solutions issue kit thing. And in it, it's fairly well stuffed. In it, I have taped up some Anderson power pole connector. I have the little spade pieces that slide into the connector. I have just a bunch of wire, as well as a alligator clip lead in case you need to do some funky stuff with that. A power lead that I built that takes the coaxial power plug into an Anderson's. Again, some of this is power related, but the big showstopper as far as connections go, feed line problems, all that stuff, you sometimes will get to a point where you just literally have to take apart the connector, snip it, and then strip down its bits to be able to get it to connect to your radio. Now, the good news is you can always snip coax and strip the ends, and then you can be back on the air by putting another connector onto it. But most of us don't travel with stuff that allows us to do that. So the best thing you can do often is simply take your coax, take the jacket off, and then take the shield bit, the outer shield, the woven braid, and unravel the braid so that you get a long, twisted thread piece, and then shove it in one of these holes, either the one for the banana plugs, or maybe get a couple smaller ones and shove it into the black hole for the cobra head, as this is called. This is a cobra head connector, which you can make whole antennas out of this, and in fact, that's kind of why some of this stuff is here. But if you are wondering, okay, well, I got to connect to this side for my radio, but my connector's dead on my coax, what do I do? Well, you can just snip the ends off, and you can just put the center pin here, and you can put the shield over on that side and throttle it down, and it won't cause enough of a problem that you won't just be able to, get anything back up on the air without much issue. More coax connection or adapters, got to have that. I do have a double-ended SMA male connector for barrel connection due to the Nano VNA, which is still charging. We have a Anderson's empty in case we need to rebuild something, and another piece of kit that we don't talk much about, but a magnet. Magnets are quite useful, particularly really strong neodymium magnets. You can actually hold wire up against a surface with a magnet, and that will work usually pretty good in a lot of situations. So I keep a small magnet in my little kit here. And so yeah, that's the big small kind of antenna solutions box that I carry. We've talked about it in the past, but it's gone through a bit of revisions there. So, all right. Oh, maybe not. Close, but no cigar. And yes, it's quite packed in there. That's why I keep it in an outer baggie, so it stays all in one piece. All right, what else? I also keep these little kits. Oh, I missed a couple of. Got a Roland Masterson. Thank you for getting onto the membership. Alabama Andrew with 20 months. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. And then we got a super chat from Lars. How much do you spend on Altoids each year for the tins? Honestly, the tin that I just showed you, the empty tin is sold by CountyCom. It's a Meritac tin, and they come empty. You don't even get mints out of it. They are perfectly fine for most little kit setups. Most of the stuff I have, I guess I only have like a tin or two in Altoids a year. I'm not building enough Altoids tins anymore these days. All right. There is a whole hodgepodge of items in here that we will go through because there's a lot to talk about. This is more of a get back on the air thing. Let's see. More adapters. Yes, there's what I was looking for. To go along with the last one with the Cobra head, there is another version of this, which is a push-button version. And so these are springy buttons, and they put tension onto these holes, and it goes to your BNC. So the center pin will connect to the red, and the black will be the negative or the shield of your coax connection or to the negative side of your radio. And these are great. These are little tiny Cobra heads, little mini Cobra heads. You get the same effect, although they're a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit easier to use, but that has come in handy, as well as just having jumpers of various types. So this is an SMA jumper. You would use this, again, to support a Nano VNA connection, because that is going to be your connection for an SO239 connection to your RG8X coax, and then you're going to have this little shorter run for SMA connection of coax, and again, for your Nano VNA. Extra stuff in here, too. I don't want to jump the gun again, but we're going to talk about this in a second, so I'm going to put that on the side for now. Let's throw this back in there. I don't want to lose this good stuff. Is that 2 Morse code keys? What is this? Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, it's an adapter. We'll keep that one out, too. We'll talk about that shortly, too. All right. Put those on the side. Okay. So those are some thoughts for antenna connections. I am, or as far as the feed line connections. As far as antennas, the other problems you run into is that sometimes you don't really have the ability to get it up in the air, or you have problems with holding the mast against something, a myriad of other issues that can be a problem. And so for that's where these tomato lines and reusable twist ties comes into play. This red one, I actually found this at Harbor Freight the other day, and it was like a couple of bucks. And it's long. It looks like it's about 2 feet long for this. And yeah, you can go around a tree or a park bench and twist it up really good. It's a little bulky in comparison to my tomato wire friend. And yeah, this is reusable twist tie. It's rubber coated. You can cut it to your spec. And we use this on, people use this on tomatoes for trellising purposes. But I use it to lash antennas and mass against things. So that's often a problem that you face when you're out in the field is how do you affix something to something else, particularly being an antenna mast. And so that's what I usually use when it comes to that kind of stuff. So that's 2 items as well that I've used a lot of and have recommended that in the past. But the humble zip tie, just zip tie the crap out of everything, and then when you need to cut it at the end, just cut it down. Who cares? Zip ties are cheap, and they work really well. I have found that, a bundle of zip ties for a couple of bucks on field day, if I have something I don't want to fall down, I just zip tie it and then cut it off later, and that's it. Like, I don't have to worry about it falling down in the middle of the night. I don't have an issue with, this untwisting, which can happen as the wind blows against it. Just zip tie it, and there you go. All done. Who cares? I do have a Glock. I am a Glock guy. They do have releasing zip ties as well. Yes, they are reusable. Pete, hey, thank you very much, Pete. We will be attending Huntsville Hamfest in 2 weeks, so I hope you join us for that. I do have a North American Arms, too. You want to walk through more firearms that I may or may not own? Because I've got some. All right. Yes. And cannot forget to mention, every time I do a live stream like this, I'm always surprised people don't know about the humble, valuable, useful S-Beaner. Do I have a bare line somewhere? I don't think I do. Wish I did. Oh, you know what? I do. I actually do. Hold on. And in fact, there's probably already one on here, but you might have already caught the label on that pouch right there, Pack Tenna. I don't have the NAA buckle. Is there a pack? There's got to be one of these around here. No, there's no clip. What? What's going on here? Anyway, this'll do fine. So let's get our. This is my length of wire that. This is just a length of wire. It's not even cut for anything. I just spool up wire sometimes for fun and be like, I could probably use this for something. Well, I can use it in doing a demonstration. So the thing why these S-Beaners are so cool is, so we've got this green line. This is Soda Beam's green line. I really like their wire. But anyway, you come up through one of the holes, and then you come back down, and then you go back in again, and you pull it tight, and then that will hold your antenna up. You can clip this to whatever you want. It can go on the end of your telescoping mast, whatever, and that works perfect. That's all you have to do. It's literally like it was designed for that exact purpose, holding up antennas. I'm not sure it wasn't designed for that, but it works wonderfully. Feels like it was made for it, and that's the other recommendation. Let's see, what else? You can always glue it, too. I won't get to, there's other uses for this, but, super glue comes in handy, too. All right, what is our next slide? Power supply issues. And by power supply, we're talking about not like an AC to DC power supply, but your batteries, whatever it is regarding whatever it is you do out there, how you connect to power, all that other fun stuff. Power supply, getting power to the radio. You will have issues there occasionally, and a lot of it has to do with connectors. Some of it is just the way you get power from one thing to another, be it a certain type of battery or not. And in a quick fix, these things will often come through for you. So let's take a look at some items. The first which we've talked about before too, but it kind of always deserves to be mentioned. This is a 12-volt PD USB-C power delivery to coaxial connector with a universal translator of different plugs. And so you can find any device that takes it, and it needs to be 12 volts because this line will give you 12 volts. So if it's not, you'll blow it up. But you can connect them, and there you go. You can literally interface just about any type of connection. In fact, I've used these, just this bundle with a coaxial power plug and a bench power supply to adapt to multitude of different devices. So if you lose the charger for some reason, or the dog chews it up, or your kids lose it, or your wife throws a box out that has it, then these come in handy because you can just tune up your power supply, your bench power supply, and get it going to get the device up and running. And I've done that quite a few times. So highly recommended on that one too, and they're cheap. I think it's like under $10 to get this. Didn't mention it, but this will probably come up later when we talk about humans and our interfacing of radios and whatnot. But chokes are going to be a valuable thing, so don't let me forget talking about that. Okay, power. Some radios, not all of them. If you're watching this, your radio might not be powered off of 9-volt, but they make 9-volt batteries with USB-C connectors now, and so that you can charge them over USB-C, which works really, really well. I have a couple of these, keep them charged, keep them with my small QRP radios, and they live together in harmony. So that's that. Now, what was I going to talk about? The Wago connector Anderson power pole, and in fact, that's just one of them. I have one that already has some leads on it for throwing into the line here. So here's my power connection space, and you can see I've got a whole bunch of stuff. So a PD4 PowerWorks breakout. So you would apply power to one of these, and then you could serve 3 others. This is just a dummy. It's, there's nothing to it. It's just taking whatever you're giving it here, and it's supplying it to the other 3 connectors, which is pretty useful. Very, very useful, in fact. And PowerWorks makes a number of these. They make bigger ones, too. Bigger, smaller. That's as small as it goes, is that size, from my understanding. So this is called the Juice Box, and this was handed to me at Huntsville a couple of years ago. And so what this does is it's similar to this guy, except it replaces one of the Andersons with a USB-A connector for power, for charging. So there's a buck converter in here, and it takes power in and supplies DC to the other 2 Andersons, and the other one, it gets 5-volt for USB, which is really helpful. And, okay, so these Wago connectors, I'm not sure who makes these now. Somebody in chat's gonna have to correct who does this. But basically, so what happens if you are in the field, and so let's say this is your normal end of wire, and what always happens is they start to get messed up here as you use the wire more. This is some thick wire, so I'm not really worried that this is going to get kind of blown out from overuse, but the more you take some of the smaller gauge stuff and you bend it back and forth, you'll eventually they'll break at the connector on the inside. And so what this does is allows you to just take bare wires, and so you open the Wago connector and you take bare wires and you shove them in there. That's the whole point of this little device. So you can cut your wire off on the end and just go back in, of course, color to color matching. Go back into the thing. Shoved it in there real good, and then close it down. And now you have fixed your connection, basically. You can see it down there, making a good connection. I shouldn't be able to pull those out, and I can't. So yeah, in here we have another 12-volt USB power delivery, USB-C to coaxial plug. You'll notice also that a lot of my stuff I have duplicates of everywhere because inevitably I'll tell myself, you don't need the whole tool roll. You don't need the 10-foot coaxial to power pole Andersons for just a day doing a Parks on the Air activation. Why don't you go light? And then inevitably I have a problem, and I wish I had that one thing. So yeah. Here's another one. This is an inline fuse connector. So I took a mobile radio, and I made the cable much shorter because I was going to use it in a Go box. But I still had this long connector, and so I just kept it, and I put an Anderson on the other end. But something that a lot of people don't seem to buy anymore are the fast blow fuses. So I do keep fast blow fuses in some of these kits, and I have linked them over on Amazon. And usually what happens is I buy like a 5-pack of them, and I go around and I fix all the connectors that have had their fuses blown for various reasons. And so that's what the last round would do. And then let's see, last but not least on the power side. The connector for the Jankopotamus, the 12-volt laptop connector, is actually much, much smaller than other coaxial connectors, and you can see that. So not all coaxial connectors are made equal. In fact, I have 2 of them because I have another device that runs off of it too. But yeah, these are also really good to have in terms of you're going to be out there if you're doing digital modes. If you don't have a good power connection to your laptop, you're not going to be able to actually make contacts with stuff. So you got to have extra of those aside from what may be in your bag or whatnot, or who you might be talking to if you're out in the field doing whatever. Now, since we are, hey, Don found the guy who makes and sells the Wago connectors. They are on Etsy, so they're a little more boutique-y. Thanks, Don, for dropping the link. This is true. This is definitely true. No fuse gang from Mighty Joe backing that up. Never use fuses. They're rolling dirty. Now, to go along with power and antenna, you will need a power supply of some kind, or a soldering iron of some kind in some cases. And so I bought a pine sill. And I've never really talked about this too much on the show, but I 3D printed this case, and I've got some extra tips. There's supposed to be a skate bearing in here for a stand, and so you take this out. You take out the soldering iron, and the skate bearing thing slides into this location, and then that's a little iron holder when the skate bearing's in there because it'll handle the heat. But I haven't had a problem with that, so I haven't really messed with it. But here's a little spool of coax that I need to reload here soon because it looks like we've used this quite a few times. We used this at field day. Now, this pine sill, which is a soldering iron, you can buy this on Amazon now. They're available on Amazon. I was really happy to see that because this is a really, really cool case. A pine sill. So Pine Company, they make the Pine phone, the Pine tablet, the Pine laptop. They're like Linux-based devices, but they came out with this soldering iron not too long ago. And what's cool about it is if you caught what I'm throwing down, hopefully we're focusing on this. Are we focusing? Come on. Yeah, that's a USB-C and coaxial 12-volt connector. So I have, it's a small spool, Don. You see, that's it's a small spool. The spool is the thing that the coax is on. It has nothing to do with the size of the coax. Le petit iron, yes, le petit iron. Yeah, so it takes 12-volt and USB-C. In a pinch, the USB-C will do okay. Come on now. Come on. Hey, I'm right here. Focus. There we go. The USB-C is okay, but I almost always tell people just plug it into 12-volt. It's really, really effective on 12-volt. This case took me, I don't know, overnight. I printed it in 2 parts. It's 4 parts total, 2 on each side. And yeah, it even has a little Brillo pad in here. But yeah. A Parrot with a 3 amp hour Bio-NO battery works okay. So there's that. It is adjustable, so you can adjust the temperature on it. It's not like those soldering irons we all grew up on where you just threw it onto the 110 line and it got as hot as it got, and that's what you were soldering at. No. This is totally settable for different temperatures, which is really handy. That is PETG. I printed that in PETG. I would not recommend this as your only iron. It works fine, works good, but I don't. It's not as good as my Hako. My desktop soldering iron is a much better soldering iron. All right. Booyah. All right, what else do I got so much stuff. I don't want to forget anything before we go to the last one. The fiddly bit, the part where, human beings, the effect of humans out doing activations. Humans are the problem, right? We're the weak link in the system more often than not. And so I have a couple of recommendations on things that I really, really like, particularly through my years of summer POTA activations, even out in hot places like the desert and Las Vegas. I've done a couple of 130-degree POTA activations out in, I think was it 130? No, it was 113. Sorry, 113. I was like, 130 is like Lake Havasu level hot. I haven't done an activation in that, but 113 was the hottest I've ever activated in. I think you're onto something there, Jeff. I think you're really onto something. Humans are killing ham radio. But so yeah, the last segment to talk about is human issues. So I am always surprised. I'm always surprised that we humans, I run into a lot of people that don't carry a first aid kit. I don't care where you get your first aid kit, but we're going to look at a couple of items in here, and I'm going to have 2 items to add, actually 3 items to add to this that have helped me a ton in my real life, mainly with hiking with kids and being at summer camp, scouts, camping with scouts, all that stuff. Bringing back the zip ties. Big recommendation for kids. If they won't shut up, you just zip tie their tents closed when they're in it. No, I'm just kidding. A couple of things I'm a big advocate of, particularly when it's hot, is hydro drinks, anything that has hydration. I actually don't leave these in the first aid kit because I don't want them to break, but you will always find at least 1 to 5 packets, sachets, satchels. What do they call that? What's that word? I love that word. Satchel, whatever, doesn't matter. Of electrolyte drink. This one has energy, so it's for the adults, for me specifically. Whenever I hike, whatever, I'll usually throw one of these in my kids' water, at least, when we get to where we're going or when we're hiking, because hydration is a big deal and they don't drink enough water. And most human beings don't. Because, honestly, I don't know what it is. I'm a pig. Like, I drink so sachet. I don't know. Don't remember how to say it. I drink a ton of water on the trail. I just know I always do. And so if I get a little bit of electrolyte in me, it seems to help me not have to depend on as much water. But, somebody's asking, does it have sugar? Good question. 10 grams of sugar. Yes, it does. And this has caffeine in it. But they make ones that don't have caffeine, but I'll tell you what, I've had just about every one of these that you can get your hands on Amazon, REI, every one of these electrolyte pouches. I hate all of them except Yuzu Pineapple by Liquid IV. It is so good. It is my favorite. Yeah, not diabetic friendly. Probably not. Unless they're having a crash, right? And then they may need the sugar. I don't know. The next item, and I don't travel with it in this role. So this is something called leukotape. And I've definitely mentioned this to you all on other videos. And it's spelled just like that. Come on. Get in there. Leuko tape. This stuff doesn't come off once you put it on. Like, I've taken showers. Flechettes. That's definitely what human beings need. More flechettes. I've got a blister. I slap this over the blister, and I don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Soap, water goes on top of it. It doesn't come off for a month. Probably not that long, but weeks. And which is great because it allows the healing to go on and all that stuff. But leukotape, I tape this around a credit card whenever I pack anything, like old credit cards or, just some bit of plastic, right? Take a bunch of it, take 10 feet of this, and you can use this to help close up wounds. If you have, some kind of a sterile piece of gauze and you want to hold it on, Leukotape in the field is fantastic. Highly, highly recommended. You all should have. I've had this probably for 4 or 5 years, and I just pull more and more off of it, put it on a card. I've been using it for a very long time. Great stuff. Okay, the other item, I'm not going to go critique first aid kits, but just know that I'm pretty well squared away. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so thank you, Scout. I love it when people know the joys of the Leukotape. Yeah, so I don't have name brands anymore. I don't think I do. Yeah, Nampons. So these are highly absorbent sticks. They look like popsicle sticks, and they're super, super highly absorbent. Like the most ridiculous, highly absorbent type of stuff you can get. These are for nosebleeds, but you can use them for wounds as well. Although I haven't tried to do that. I'd rather just apply pressure and put a lot of just put a clean bandage or something on it and apply a lot of pressure. I don't think that I would deploy something like this. But for nosebleeds in kids, I don't know what it is, but my oldest son suffers from nosebleeds when camping, usually due to altitude, and it's worked out really well. Anyway, this also has tape and Band-Aids and all that other stuff. The point wasn't to go into necessarily the first aid aspect of it, but you should have first aid. He's actually not the nose picker, believe it or not. It's the young one that's the nose picker. But no, the oldest just gets it because he's got I have a similar problem. I have a vein that's on my right nostril, and it rises to the surface when it's dry. And it's always there, I guess, but the separation between earth and vein becomes thin enough when it's dry, and it pops, usually at night. So maybe I hit myself in my sleep, I don't know, but he suffers from the same thing. Same nostril, always the same nostril. Okay, I talked about it earlier. Boy, howdy, I'm converting over to being the dumb dad. Saline nasal spray. Oh yeah. So am I here still? Yeah. Okay, good. So who has ever done the Amazon thing where you want to get the free shipping, right? And you're like, oh, I'm just X number of dollars away from free shipping, and you're looking for where's the $2 pack of gum? Where's all that? And I was scrolling through Amazon, and I saw this thing. It's a fan. It comes in all kinds of colors. It's $20 on Amazon. And I'm like, what the heck? I want to try it anyway. If I don't like it, one of the kids will like it. It's fantastic. I can't tell you. I've been using it, the last week or so. And California is basically on fire in the months of August and September. It's always very, very hot. So I'm going to be rocking this thing. And it's dumb simple. It just has like 4 modes. You just click it. That's it. So I have Amazon Prime, but when you get to a point where you're like, oh, I want that overnight shipping because you need something for who knows what. That was my item where I've done it. Yeah, exactly. Everybody's been through that. I think they want you to do that too. That's why they get you with it. But got a couple more items. Now, for me, lighting is immensely important, and I ended up. Years ago, I had a NU20, still have it, the one that had the cotton kind of mesh headband, and I loved it. It's my favorite headlamp of all time. It has a white light, it has a red light, there's a button for the white light, there's a button for the red light. That's it. Super simple. It has a couple of modes, like intensity modes or whatever, but it's dead simple. The problem with the NU20 original was it was USB micro. And so as I have now started to distance myself from USB micro, I was like, boy, I got to get the upgrade to that. And I ended up getting the NU25, which is the upgrade to this. Hated it. I do not like it. I gave it to Ben. It's now his scout light. He gets all my hand-me-downs. But about a couple months ago, they decided to come out with a NU20 Classic. And the Classic is USB-C. That's the only difference, and it's got they only make it in the tensiony headband. That's the only downside. Is I'm not a big fan of the tensiony headband. I like the sweatband type headband type stuff. Absolutely fantastic, wonderful, wonderful headlamp. So if you are doing an activation or you're camping in the last couple of months or last month of summer, you should have a headlamp. This thing's like $20. It's one of the best ones I've ever had. Literally, I've been using my other one of these for 5+ years at this point. My favorite for sure. Okay. Next, what is saved an activation? Maybe not saved an activation, but I did want to give a shout out to the mini keyboard. That I did a number of videos with something. I don't remember what it is now. It was that CW decoder. And I got 1,001 comments on what is the mini keyboard you're using. I found it. It's on Amazon. I think it's pretty cheap. And I use this with Raspberry Pis now. So I take the little dongle. There's a little dongle in here. Plug it into my Raspberry Pi. And then you just use this to get it programmed. Because I run headless Raspberry Pi almost all the time. I never really interface a Raspberry Pi directly. But occasionally when I'm setting one up, I have to do it. And so this is that keyboard. I found it. So there you go. I think it was Dawn, actually. I think Dawn was actually the one who was asking me the most, like, what specific model of it is it? And so that's the one that's in the Amazon. It is the RII Mini X1. It was not on Amazon a while ago, but now it is. What else? We talked about PD charging, so I will just mention Tufton can go the other way too. They go both ways with their power supply options. Not only could you take a USB-C and get 12 volts out, in this case, with this one, you can go 12 volts in and get USB-C out, which is handy if you need to get your radio or your phone charged up because you need to get the heck out of Dodge, or you need to navigate, or you need to use the satellite function for an emergency. That's a super, super handy thing as well. Indeed. And then last, maybe my last item. I think I got some other stuff up here we can talk about, but before we go, let's just hear from you guys. Let's hang out. Let's drink a beer and hang out, because we're gonna get into the after chat, and it's gonna be a lot of talky talk. So this thing, man, I gotta tell you, I haven't made a video review on the Micro PA50 HF power amplifier, but this thing hasn't failed me. It's been rock solid. It's an RF sensing amp. I have set up in parks to do, video, some kind of video segment. Maybe I'm playing around with an antenna. I think it was actually. I was doing the spool antenna review, and I wanted to just make a contact, with it. And there was it was an Alaskan station. Yeah, it was an Alaskan station. And I was super excited. I was like, oh, I hear him really good. And I kept screaming out to him on QRP, and I just couldn't get it. And I was like, I got my mini PA50 in my pack, and so I plugged that sucker in, and we got the contact done. I love this amp. I'm not a big QRP 50 watts, 100 watts kind of guy. Like I'll generally just do my activations on QRP a lot of times, and I'm fine with that. Like. That works fine. Oh, see, this connector's starting to go on me. I think that connector's starting to go. But I've been using this now for a long time. Is there? Oh no, I thought there was something shaking in there. With my 705, where is it? Was it Jaeger? Does it absolutely need a key line with this? No, I don't use a key line with any radio I plugged into this. I only just RF sense it. I just blast RF into it, and I let it deal with it. And as long as the antenna must be resonant, no SWR. So if you put a tuner on the other end, I don't care. It's got to be resonant. I don't do anything. No keying line. It has an ACC line, but I've never used it. Never used it. Works great. MXP50M. I don't know. Don't know, Ham Radio Tube. Now, they do have the Micro PA50, as Dawn has pointed out. Mine is years old now, but I gotta tell you, occasionally when I'm doing a non-backpacky radio activation, occasionally it's nice to just be able to like throw some power at it and just get some more contacts. Or in my case, if I'm hunting, because I like to go camping in areas that aren't in POTA sometimes, I just go for it. I throw this on there, make my contact to Alaska, and then I'm on with it. So I've been loving this. It's actually probably one of the cooler pieces of kit that I've had in a long time, and I've got no affiliate code or anything to it. It's really just the one on Amazon. Oh, and we lost autofocus there, so I guess I'm just manually focusing right now. This is just the one off of Amazon. I can't tell you if the PA50 is PA50 Plus. Can't tell you if that's good, but this one's rock solid. I think somebody told me that the PA50 Plus has a CW trainer on it. It's like, why? I don't. It's a 50-watt amp, guys. I don't care about that. This is a stellar option for the QMX. This works great with the QMX. I don't. The reason I don't is I bought this years ago now, and it's been in a lot of videos, but eBay sellers can be a little hit or miss, so I haven't found one that I truly like. If you all want me to, I'll find a good one, and then I'll share that around. But I kind of wanted to just give it the shout out because it deserves it. It deserves it. So, what else? There was something else I wanted to talk about. Ah, yes, Nano VNA. Hey, Spooltenna's in the house. I was just talking about Spooltenna. When I was doing my Spooltenna video, I put this micro PA50 behind it for 50 watts of power output, and I got Alaska from Southern California. It was great. Nano VNA. This is, so literally, the size, smaller than a deck of cards. In fact, I have a, where's my Hawaiian Airlines deck of cards as reference? So you can see, aside from this 3D printed case here, where I keep my testing loads, about the size of a deck of cards. Actually, I think it's almost identical. Yeah, with the 3D printed case. The 3D printed case is making it better. You all need to have one of these, okay? I cannot stress this enough. You all need to have a Nano VNA. It should be your next radio purchase. I did calibrate this beforehand. It should be fine, but we're going to use this as a demonstration point. So I am going to connect my... This is my step IR. Let's see. Oh, it lost everything, didn't it? Isn't it? Let's dive in here. We'll go to marker. Let's do center. No. Oh, that's not what I want. My bad. And go back. Don't need cal. How wide is that? That's not... Okay, we need to make this a little wider. Nope. What am I doing? Oh, that's why. So that's my 40-meter antenna. I don't think I did. It should be 7 megahertz. Where's the stop, though? I want it to be 8 megahertz. Should be wide. There it is. Okay, there we go. We got it. So there's my 40-meter antenna. Now watch my antenna as I click to go to 20 meters. Ready? Bye-bye, antenna. Bye-bye. So let's do start at 14 megahertz. Stop at 14. And now you're watching 20 meters tune up. Isn't that cool? There's 20 meters. So that's what a step IR does. I know they don't tell you to put signal down the line when it's tuning, but this is using very little tuner or very little power to get it going. But yeah, there you go. That is a handy thing. It is, boy howdy, let me tell you. Not great in the field, okay? Let me move this out of the way so I can slide in here. Okay. There's nothing smaller than a nano VNA. There's nothing cheaper than a nano VNA that does what a nano VNA does, but it is hard to see in direct sunlight. You will have to use a hat, cover it up. It's a very small screen. They make bigger ones, and in fact, I have a bigger one linked in my Amazon, which is in the video description. That is an affiliate code. Those are all affiliate codes, so thank you very much for the support. But so cool that something like this exists. The only downside is that screen. I would be, well, no, you couldn't do it with e-ink because it refreshes too quickly because of what it does. I would love to see something with a different screen, even if we had to pay a little bit more money. I want the small size. I just want it to be more vibrant. I want it to be brighter in daylight. Yep. Everyday ham. I go with the Rig Expert so often because it's so convenient, but the Nano VNA is a better cost value. The cost value on a Nano VNA is through the roof. For new hams, I want everybody to consider. They're like, oh, ham radio is more expensive than it's ever been. The Nano VNA is the thing that tells you that that's not true. I bought my first analyzer for $500, my first antenna analyzer, and it only went up through 450 megahertz. So I could do, or was it 450? Anyway, it covered the 70 centimeter band. I could get all of HF 2 meters and 70 centimeters, which is what I wanted. But it was huge, and it was $500. Now you get one of these for $50 to $100. That's like a ridiculous amount of savings that you could not have gotten in years past. There's no way. Oh yeah, so AA35, great analyzer, right? That's a Rig Experts too. Those are the ones that were popular before the sticks, before they produced the sticks. Great stuff. All good. I'm not complaining. I'm not saying Rig Expert is like not worth the money. Not saying that at all. I'm saying as a young broke ham, when I plopped down $500 for my first analyzer, I would have been way happier with this. I would have been able to take all that extra money and go build antennas, go build other gear. Nano VNA goes all the way up like gigahertz high. I don't remember what the range is, but it's I don't know if that's true. The Nano VNA 1.5 gig. If it's 1.5 gig, that's insane. That is insane for the money. Yeah. 4-inch, if you got the pack space, go nuts. Go nuts. And you know what? I 3D printed that case. Love it. Love it. But I still have the stock box that it came in. Literally. I literally just take it. So here it is. Let's shut her off because I guess it's fully charged now and not mad at me, but the light's still on, so I don't know what's going on. I keep this is literally the stock plastic case that this came in, shipped in. I still carry around the little coax jumper. I threw in a couple of alligator leads. It's got a couple of styluses that I printed just in case that, well, I don't need a hair. Just in case I need that. And yeah, this all just kind of lives here. It's been like this for years. And this is how I carry it. Nothing more simple than that, man. But yeah, cannot say enough about it. I think, Radio Spectra, I know that like the Baofeng opened the doors for more amateur radio operators. But if you ask me, I think that the Nano VNA has done more to demysticize the science of radio for your average ham radio operator than almost any device ever. This is very special. It is an amazing device. Incredibly powerful device. Yeah. So what do you guys think? What did I miss? What are your things that have bailed you out in an activation? Love to hear it. We got a couple of minutes here. I ended up buying on accident another Amazon thing that I ended up doing. I ended up buying 2 of those. I already have one of the classic, so I'm probably going to give one away. Maybe we'll give away in the after chat. That might be fun. It'll be a smaller group, so your chances will go up to win. Maybe we'll pick a winner. Yeah, go watch my video. It's old, but the nano VNA hasn't changed. Yeah, tons of connectors. Yep. God, I got mine when they first kind of hit the scene. I think it was $70 shipped. It's crazy. Go check out. Let's see. Having at least two antennas is real. That's why that Pactenna is in the bag for sure. Look at this guy, Ham Radio Tube's dropping a link to his affiliate code. You should support Ham Radio Tube. He's the one who discovered the S-beaners. I do give him credit for that because I think I mistaked it. I don't know, and it doesn't matter. He's the one who found those things. So yeah, go use his link. It's in mine too. You know what? They're cheap enough. Buy one from each of us. They come in packs of like 6 or 12 or something like that. It's crazy. Yes, you got me on that one. I forgot. I do need to give this shout out. I do need to do this. Yeah, I will mention this because I do pack this as well. So, boy howdy. Remember when we assembled my shack bag, my tool bag? You know, that whole thing? So, I have a pocket meter. The pocket meters are pretty cool. They're really, really cool. They do have a striking downside, though. So this is a multimeter with some very rudimentary oscilloscope type capabilities. And it goes so far as they even have the little clips. So you can jam in the plug here, and then you actually can get a wire clip. So the multimeter pocket meter is really good. I would skip the pen one for most hams and just get the small little guy. These are great. The downside is it doesn't handle a lot of power, so you can't really do, any AC type stuff. But the downside is the battery's always running on these things. I've killed so many batteries, so now I always just leave it out. If you buy one of these, leave the battery out. Do not leave it attached. Because if you're like me and you probably grab it, once every 3 months, always disconnect it. Oh man, I'm forgetting so many things. So that is that. Filters. So inline choke. This is an inline choke that DX Engineering makes. And my gritty ferrite toroid that I have here for USB-C. I use this in the shack just so that we get no RF back into the USB device. And always in my pocket is this. This has my SOG Power Pint, which for somebody who has always completely disliked the SOG brand, that's the one that I carry now all the time. It is a small multi-tool. Fantastic. Next to that is a Rovivon dual fuel light that has an internal battery and a AAA, so you can just swap out whatever. And it's got 2 lights. It has a red light and a lamp light. Oh, that's UV, so that's black light. And then let's turn it off again. And then one click should be just a map light. And so that'll sit on a table, and you can read with it. So it's a multi-tool flashlight. I freaking love this company. Yeah, this is a really cool light. I've been carrying this for a couple of years now. But yeah, anyway. And then, of course, my space pen, the extendable one, because I hate the little capsule one. Because I lose them. But this guy... Ooh. Yes. What happened here? Somebody's been messing around with my pen. No, I'll have to fix that. Anyway, that's my problem. But yeah, that's gotta always have your EDC. I just assumed you had an EDC. And yes, right on rain paper as well. Good call there, Don. I keep a little tablet in my wallet, one of the really tiny perforated ones. And I ended up logging the Hilton Lakes activation with the Right in the Rain, my wallet tablet, because we we were using my phone to do the live stream. Very good. Hey, we got there. All right, let's say a big thank you to the patrons. You guys keep this train a-rolling down the road, and you're the ones that picked this topic. I think I have about 20 topics? Yeah, 20 topics that change throughout the year. Obviously, we pull some off and add some more, and we get recommendations from the viewers. And so those go into rotation. They get to vote. And, yeah, they're the ones who voted for this. So if you didn't like today's episode, the only thing you can do is join the Patreon and make your vote count. Get in there and make your vote count. Did I put some green in the tips of my hair? No. Just my green screen's probably a little funky right now. I have been swimming a lot recently, though. And as a blonde... that can make your hair green. This is democracy manifest. What is the crime? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? I see you know your judo well. Good job. That man is an absolute hero. I've never actually tried doing his voice before, so I hope I didn't butcher it. Oh, buddy, you don't know what this is. Oh, okay, you don't know what this is. Wait. Jeez, here we go. The shirt is titled. Who can guess the shirt title? Who knows old school Woot t-shirts? Who knows? Oh, I cut out the Patreon too early. I got so excited about the shirt. Let me go back to it. The title of it was He Came Out of Nowhere. A succulent Chinese meal? I like Wisconsin cheese too, Jamscan. Make your vote count. Make your vote count. I'll make sure to do the entire podcast in my Midwesterners accent this week. I'm sure Leia will love that. So will all the listeners. It'll be great and confusing for everyone. All right, what else? Hit me with anything I missed. What else I miss? Please go get a first aid kit though. After Adam being the best person, man. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to all the patrons. We really appreciate it. But I gotta mention this before we wrap up. Boy, that lady that we encountered on the field on the Hilton Lakes hike. People go out completely half-cocked in the preparedness standpoint when hiking. They really do. I'm sure if Adam joins us in the after chat, he probably has tons of stories. Those are likely, statistically, probably the people that end up getting in trouble and need help from search and rescue. But, like, having enough water. Know how much water you consume. Doing a 5-mile hike, how much water are you going to drink? For me, about a liter. What, food should you carry? Should you carry a headlight? Yes, all the time. You should always have a headlight. Even if you're day hiking, you should have a headlamp. They weigh nothing. They weigh nothing. A first aid kit that's like real. A real map. Like one that isn't just like somebody's oil paint rendition of where you're hiking. Now she did have a backup battery. She had enough power for her phone, which is great. And I think people are probably more squared away in that front than anything. But like first aid, like, oh my gosh, just so many things. Headlamp though, come on. All right. Thank you, everybody. I hope that was enjoyable. I will talk to you on the after chat. And today's show topic is going to be, what should I bring to DEF CON? Because I'm going next week. 73. Whiskey flask to DEF CON, I agree. Yeah, I like the Refuge Medical. You can actually go watch a video that I shot with W6RIP Kevin and Adam, K6ARK, at Thomas Mountain, and they reviewed the contents of the Refuge Medical PFAC, Personal First Aid Kit, and the Camp First Aid Kit. So if you have not watched that, go watch that first before you consider it, because they can get expensive. Also, I list all the items, and so you could build your own if you wanted to do it that way. Flipper Zero, oh yeah, buddy. That's what I'm talking about. A Guy Fawkes mask, yeah, that's another. Yeah. All right, we'll see you in the after chat, everybody. Have a great rest of your evening if you're not hanging out with me in a couple of minutes. Real talk, hand sanitizer. Oh, I got that on lock, bud. You, word.